Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. Like every other morning, it started out so commonplace it appeared undetectable. Under the early morning clouds, the Kansas City skyline barely shone, a silver mist still hanging to the buildings and trees. Inside the Hazziez house, life moved sloppily. Moving through his daily ritual with the quiet precision of a man bearing many obligations, Bilal Hazziez went. He tiptoed past the nursery, where his 5-month-old son slept soundly under a soft blue blanket, straightening his tie in the mirror and offering a whispered thank you prayer. His heart brimming with pride and wonder, he stopped for a long minute at the doorway just observing. In slumber, a small hand jerked. A gentle, satisfied sigh. Bilal gave himself a smile. Fatherhood had softened the edges of a guy who had once taken great satisfaction in always being in charge in ways he could not have expected. He leaned into the bedroom where Sheeta still slept, her body curled defensively toward the vacant area where he had laid hours ago. He gently kissed her forehead, allowing his lips linger there for a breath longer than normal. It was one of those little unseen actions, an unspoken I love you louder than words ever could. Bilal's mind was racing ahead as he moved away from the curb that morning. Scheduling meetings, emails, property exhibitions. A man planning a future not just for himself, but also for the family depending on him has an infinite list. He saw nothing of the other automobile approaching. Everything fell apart in an instant. The planet burst in a terrible symphony of metal tearing, glass breaking, bones shattering against skin. The sound tore the very fabric of existence, a roar, deafening and limitless. The head of Bilal snapped back then ahead. Gripping the steering wheel, his right hand twisted in directions a hand was not supposed to travel. Pain lanced across him, brilliant and white and blind. There was an awful, unnatural silence as the automobile at last stopped. From the crumpled hood, smoke waved sloppily. Driven onto the asphalt, fluids leaked. Someone screamed somewhere. Bilal tried to move, but the wreckage held him back. His vision slanted in and out. His hand, he was unable to feel it. Half a sob, half a prayer, a low, guttural sound leaked from his mouth. God, kindly? Unlike this. Not at the moment. Not when most of my family depends on me. Before the red and blue strobes emerged cutting through the thickening morning mist, the minutes seemed to freeze eternity. Rushing to his side, paramedics spoke in a disorganized chorus. Stay with us, sir. We are pulling you out here. You're going to be fine. But Bilal knew. Nothing would never be the same even as they tore through the debris and hauled him free. Sheeta's morning played out in joyful ignorance back at home. The nursery smelled pleasant, warmly of baby lotion and powder. She changed her son's diaper and laughed gently as he protested by kicking his chubby legs. She was astounded by his rapid development, how he now sought for her face with small, eager hands, how his laughing illuminated the entire room. Sheeta felt completely filled in her heart. This was their miracle after everything they had been through. The challenges, the uncertainty, the tearful evenings wondering whether motherhood would ever be theirs. Their responses to prayer. The phone rang then as well. The hospital's statements were nearly cold professional. An error. Significant injuries. Stable state for present. From beneath her, the floor seemed to drop out. Her mouth stopped in her throat. She was not moving or thinking for one horrible second. The earth contracted to a single point. Then instinct took control. Her heart thumping so loudly she could almost hear the traffic around her as she wrapped their boy into his car seat, threw on the first shoes she could find, and raced toward the hospital. Her hands shook. Every red light, every slow automobile in front of her, seemed to be a personal betrayal. Unchecked, tears came down her cheeks. Fear tore through her brain. What if he left before I arrived? What happens should he never see his son once more? Suppose our entire life ends tonight, right now like this? Sheeta hardly heard the nurse calling her name when she stormed the ER. All she observed was broken, pallid Bilal surrounded by tubes and machinery. 1,000-minute details burnt themselves into her consciousness. The angle of his broken hand, the bruises already flowering on his arms, the far-off, dreamy look in his eyes. Her baby pressed against her bosom, sobbing freely now, her legs collapsing under the weight of it all. She staggered toward him. God, kindly do not take him away. Mania for the Hazziez family, time had slowed to a terrible crawl in the days that followed. Automobiles moved, people laughed, life went on. Their universe now was the hospital. Non-diminished fluorescent lights. The constant beep of the monitors. Even now, the antiseptic smelled sterile and hung on her hair and skin. Sheeta left Bilal's side hardly at ever. She sung gently to their son in a corner chair over the 4-drip hiss. She discovered the rhythms of Bilal's suffering. When his breathing became shallow, when his face contorted into a grimace, when tears of frustration welled in his eyes, and he turned his head so she wouldn't see. She observed, though. She sensed everything. Days Bilal could not even raise his hand to sweep a single strand from her face. Days he could not hold their son without agonizing pain. Days he felt guilty about the weakness he could not control and avoided looking her in the eye. Sheeta stayed nonetheless through it all. Steadfast. Strengthenable. When he stammered, she softly encouraged him. She celebrated the smallest triumphs, a wriggle of his fingers, a few hesitant steps down the hospital corridor. Remind him of what he was fighting for. She lifted their son up for him to view. Still, Sheeta let herself drop in the darkest recesses of the night when Bilal slept and their baby cried in his dream. She believed it may drown her when moments of loss came over her so powerfully. Events when the coiled, tight anxiety in her chest at last released itself. Imagine if he never heals completely. Suppose this suffering never leaves him? Should the man I married die suddenly, all that remains would be a shadow. Recovery came slowly, taxing. Bilal came out of physical treatment tired, shaking, even crying. Setbacks included infections, unanticipated nerve damage, the terrible frustration of a body that would not comply. There were miracles, though, as well. He cried freely as the baby gurgled and grabbed his shirt, the first time he could cradle their son in his arms. He gently and awkward but real drew Sheeta into a hug first time. Voice hoarse but calm, he muttered, "We're going to be okay." And Sheeta was there, not only as a wife but also as the keeper of their shared ambition, through every difficult step. No matter how hard the winds of fate attempted to blow out the fierce, unflinching beacon of hope that refused to flutter. The house looked both familiar and alien when Bilal returned home at last. The walls were exactly the same. The furnishings were the same. Still, they were not the same. Every squeak of the floors, every glimmer of sunlight on the baby's toys, every whisper of wind against the windows. Everything of it felt sharper, more precious, more fragile. Bilal carefully passed the threshold, leaned mostly on Sheeta's arm, and momentarily just stood there inhaling it in. Home. Survive. A second opportunity. Tears welled up in each of their eyes as they understood they had made it. Though not defeated, they had been twisted, beaten, almost broken. Future battles would still be waiting. Still have evenings when agony kept Bilal conscious. Still be days when Sheeta would have to call upon power she lacked awareness of. They would, however, confront them jointly, together handily, face to face, because love lasts at last. Hope has healing power. And family, messy, wonderful, hard-earned family survives. Always. This gossip is over. If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.